Let's go. Good morning. Who's excited for church today? Come on. You chose a great Sunday to come through. We're in a series called Money Talks, God Speaks. Listen, if we haven't met yet, my name is Dago. I have the honor and privilege of being one of the pastors here in the house. I also have the honor and privilege of being one of the leads for the Sunday Experience team. Dream team, can we make some noise? Let's go. Listen, if you call Boulder home and you're not serving yet, we got this 30 by 30 going on. You need to start getting in the game and get on mission. If you want to serve, come see me. I'll hook you up. I know a guy, get you plugged in. So make sure we start building. We got ground to take. We got the kingdom to build. What are you waiting for? But the biggest honor and privilege that I hold is being the spiritual leader of the Sanchez squad. Can we get a picture of the family coming up? Listen, we got my beautiful wife, Madi, married 11 years, and every year we fall more in love because our love for Christ just grows. So my 11-year-old Mila, AKA Princess, got my 5-year-old Zayden, AKA Cool Zay, because every time you try to teach him something or coach him, he's like, yeah, I know. And then we got my 3-year-old Cameron, Little Tank, AKA Young Bull. The way he got his nickname is from an ER trip. It took 3 nurses to hold this dude down. And one big guy came out saying like, man, that's a young bull. Horrible trip, but he got a cool nickname, so it works out. Listen, to preach today's topic, I want to get into some pictures. First, we got this disappointing one. Listen, as a dad of the Sanchez squad, I do all the heavy lifting when we travel, right? The stroller when we needed it, the backpack, the luggage. I'm looking like I'm doing too much. My wife looks at me, I'm like, put it on top. Because I ain't making 2 trips. Where's my 1 trip people at? Let's go. So think about it. We're checking in, I'm looking like this, and I see that sign. I'm like, bruh. I mean, just look at this picture. I look like a toddler with an oversized backpack. Now you're telling me I had to climb up the stairs looking like this? Wild. Let's look at this next picture. My family loves to grow me and challenge me in different ways. Keep me on my toes. So every time we leave the house, I ask my kids, do you gotta go potty? They say, no, Dad. I go, are you sure? Do you have to go potty? They say, no, Dad. 10 minutes into the drive, I'm looking through a rear view mirror, and I see at least one of them just get that deer in the headlights look, and look towards me. Dad, I gotta go potty. So here I am looking for a place to pull over, putting my toddler over my shoulder, running in, getting into the bathroom, and see this. I'm like, bruh. They didn't just put a sign over the outside of the door. They put a bag on the toilet like, we dare you to try this. My boys see this and they say, challenge accepted. This next picture. I really don't eat here anymore because I don't even know if the meat is real. But when I do go, I go for the fire ice cream. Right? I had a long week. I'm craving it because I got a sweet tooth. I pull up. I'm full of anticipation, expectation. I'm like, I'm going to get a treat. I pull up to the drive-thru. I say, can I get an ice cream cone, please? You can imagine how disappointed I am when they say the machine is out of order. I'm like, what? You're out of order. How dare you? And I think the real frustration behind those out of order signs is what we're feeling on the inside. Injustice. Like, it's not fair. It's not right. Like when you think about an elevator, that's a promise. That when you go into a building, you're not gonna have to walk up the stairs looking like a toddler with an oversized backpack. That sign, it breaks that promise. Or you think about the bathroom, and the sign says for paying customers only. You go to use it, take your kids, it's broken. You paid. Why can't you use it? It's unfair. Or like the ice cream machine. You order ice cream, right? It's on the menu, literally. I didn't come here asking for steak. I saw the picture, I pointed it to it, you give it to me, and I give you cash. That's how it's supposed to work. And I think at the heart of it, the deep issue, what I'm trying to zoom in on, is a frustration. I hope this resonates with you. When you do what you're supposed to do, and things play out right, we're all happy. But when you do what you're supposed to do, and things don't play out like you think it should, we're frustrated. For some of you, it's college. Like, I was promised if I got that piece of paper that I'd be balling. And let me tell you, I am balling in Silicon Valley. I'm Bay Area broke. I could be balling somewhere else, but not here. For others of you, it's kids. You put food on the table, you put clothes on their back, and they still don't listen. I don't get it. I paid. And if we're being real, some of you treat the Bible like this. Like, I go to church regularly, I do the prayer. Why is the Bible not Bibling? So, what do you do when you have the right ingredients, but the right ingredients aren't producing the right things in your life? And I'm glad we're using ingredients because we're gonna go into a couple more pictures. First, this one. Anybody here ever bake bread? Pretty simple, right? 4 ingredients: yeast, flour, water, salt. You mix the thing in a bowl, put it in the oven, boop, comes out. You got fire bread, do whatever you want with it. Now let me show you this other picture. Does that look like bread? No, that looks like some goop, slime. I don't know what that is. The wild part is it's the same ingredients: yeast, flour, water, salt. But whoever made this mixed a couple things in, put it in the oven, pulled it out, and then added water. Listen, the right ingredients in the wrong order will produce the wrong things. And that's what I want to preach about today. What if life feels out of order, not because you're doing the wrong things, but because you're doing the right things out of order? My title for today is First Things First. Some of us have to get God in the right order in our lives to see God do all the things that he promised to do. Like, I don't know why God didn't do what you want him to do. You can ask him when you see him. But what I do know is oftentimes what seems out of order in heaven is actually out of order in our hearts. Because there's some things that you think God should do. But listen, I need you to hear this. There's some things that God can't do. Like lie. God can't lie. If he says something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And that's called righteousness. God also can't change, because if he could change, that means he can get better. And he can't. He's perfect. He's God. And that's called immutability. He also can't learn. Something doesn't happen in the world and he's surprised and he's like, what? I didn't see that coming. Or you can't say prayers and then he hears you and he's like, what? That's crazy. I didn't know you're going to pray for that. No, he already knows. That's called omniscience. And this next one, I love this one. God can't lose. I hate losing. God's never lost. If he was a boxer, his record would be 1,000,000-0. If he were a football team, he'd be the 1972 Dolphins, undefeated season, 0 loss, went to the championships and won. Niners never did that. Raiders never did that. Cowboys never did that. Lions never did that. Fins up, baby. God has never lost. God has never tied. He is unbeatable. He's all powerful. Who here is happy to be on the winning team of Christianity? Let's go. That's called omnipotence. Listen, God can't come in second. Because if he were to come in second, or third, or fourth, or fifth, or sixth, seventh, that means he created something greater than him. And that ain't possible. That's called preeminence. So that's why just coming to church and being here physically is not enough. You need to get God right in your heart before anything moves. Like, I love that we're here on a Sunday. If I'm not here on a Sunday, I got FOMO. I'm like, what happened at church today? How many salvations? How many baptisms? Like, I'm missing out. I love that we read our Bibles. We get into the Word. We've run a lot this year. But listen, we have to get God in the right place. And God has a tool for you and me, and we find that in Deuteronomy to make that happen. Deuteronomy 14:23. Bring this tithe to the designated place of worship, the place the Lord your God chooses for his name to be honored, and eat there in his presence. This applies to eat there in his presence. This applies to your tithes of grain, new wine, olive oil on the firstborn males of your flocks and herds. Doing this will teach you always to fear the Lord your God. The purpose of tithing is to teach you to always put God first in your life. What is tithing? If you're new to church, if you heard this, not too sure, you need some clarity, let me show you. The tithe, giving the first 10% of our income to God through the local church. Now, if you're new here and you're thinking like, oh man, this is why I don't come to church. They're talking about money. They talk about all they want is money. Chill. This ain't about money. It's about your heart. And you might not be here by accident. God might be trying to tell you something because our hearts are connected to our treasure. Like, I love talking about the tithe because if I'm being honest, this was the hardest place for me to trust God. Like, the first time I tithe, my family tithe, I didn't even know. I'm like on a date with my wife. I pull up the bank app. I see 10% go to church. I look at her like, bruh. Like, we had been in hard places. We had been in a season where we were at the grocery store and we didn't have enough to pay for the total. We had been in a place where we were doing payday loans to payday loans just to get to the next check. So when I started coming to church and learning about the tithe, it was hard for me. I had always been my own source. Money had always been my source and get more of it. But if I'm being real, this was what my faith needed to level up. I trust God with my tithe because he's provided over and over and over again. Our hearts are connected to our treasure. Listen, one thing I love about Bold is we got all different types of ages. And I get to learn new words from Gen Z all the time. Like, I recently learned that I'm a big bro or an unk. And being an unk, sometimes I'm gonna say words this young generation might not know. Like CDs. Who remembers CDs? Yeah, we were born in the 1900s. Now listen, y'all listen to music off your phone right now, but back in my day, we had to go to this computer box, monitor, put a playlist onto the CD. I told this to my daughter the other day, she was mind blown. And like, back when I was younger, I thought, I had game, I thought it was slick, and I would burn CDs for girls. Like, fellas, who remembers those days? Yeah, like those awkward days we didn't have DMs, you actually had to talk to somebody face to face. Like, I would spend this time and then like go to girl, be like, I burned you this playlist, girl. Like, I told this to Pastor Vadi the other day, and she's like, you ain't never burned me no CD. I was like, no, I didn't burn you no CD. I liked it, so put a ring on it. Because there's a different level of investment connected to my different levels of love. A CD is 69 cents. A ring, though, fellas, you already know it's way more than that. Because that love for that person is on another level. Like, can you imagine that? Like, when it was time for me to propose, I'd take her to the hills because she loves views. Like, right, she's like, all right, this is the moment. He's gonna pop the question. I'm up there, I get down on one knee. I look her in the eye. I go into my pocket, I pull out a CD. I made you this playlist, girl. No, that don't work. That don't represent the level of commitment and love I have for her, right? When we connect God to our heart, it should always show up in our finances. Some of you think this sermon is about money. It's not. I'm preaching about putting God first. And listen, this goes out to you tithers. If you're already tithing, I want to say thank you. Been faithful, putting it in, like week, month after month, week after week, whatever it looks like. But what I do want to warn about is when you do something so repetitively, it can become tradition. If it becomes tradition, it becomes religion. And when it becomes religion, it loses the whole purpose. It loses the reason why we do that. And what I'm hoping for today is we break that off. We break off religion and take you back to the core of why we do this, to put God in first place. This goes out to the percentage of tithers. Listen, now you might not clap for this, but we do have some studies on numbers. We see who gives, who doesn't, and we have all that. Only 5% of Americans consistently tithe a full 10%. That's nationwide. That's constantly. That's consistent across all churches. But in this house, we give a 9% of our church family that fully tithes. Like, I'm not surprised that it's 5%, but can you imagine how differently the kingdom would look if every Christian tithe 10%? How many people we could bring, how many people we could heal? We'd be the hands and feet of Christ. But I'm not really surprised, if I'm being honest, because a lot of people don't put God in the first place. We treat him like a supplement. Like he's salt on our food. Like, I'm good, this is good, but you just make it better. Or treat God like a multivitamin. Or treat him like a pre-workout. Like, I'm good, but he helps. I don't need him. And that's not the role he wants to play in your life. So the 91% of you, I hope that today is the day that you start putting God first. Break off that trust, whatever it is that's holding you back, and go all in. My hope is that you know that it's not something we want from you, but God has something for you. So scripture shows us the importance of putting God first 3 times, and I'm going to get into it this morning. We're going to get revelation and application, because in this house, we equip you, the saints, according to the word of God. And if you're here saying like, that's not in the Bible, that's not biblical, listen, to you, I say get ready to take notes, because we're going to the book of Genesis, first fruits. Can everybody say first fruits? All right, so the first fruits principle shows up in the very first book of the Bible. Let's go to Genesis. Genesis 4 says, in the course of time, Cain brought to the Lord an offering of the fruit of the ground. And Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of the fat portions. And the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering. But for Cain and his offering, he had no regard. So Cain was very angry, and his face fell. So there's 2 brothers. Cain has an offering. God says, I don't want it. Abel has an offering. God says, thank you. Why? Because if you're thinking about it, God should have taken Cain's and not Abel, because it takes a lot more effort, right? Like, I've never tried to grow anything, but if I try, it ain't gonna grow. I don't know how many of you garden, but it looks a lot harder, right? Abel is a shepherd. Nothing against shepherd, but it don't look that hard. You ain't even gotta feed these sheep. They eat grass. You just walk them around. So it looks a lot easier, right? But Cain comes with his offering, which is the first fruit of the ground. And it takes time to grow. But God says, I don't want that. I want that. Why? Let's read that again. Everybody say, in the course of time. Cain brought to the Lord an offering of the fruit of the ground, and Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat portions. And the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but for Cain and his offering he had no regard. So Cain was very angry, and his face fell. In the course of time, firstborn. What's the difference? Abel brought an offering from some of the firstborn, while Cain brought an offering through the course of time. First fruits might seem like it don't matter, but it does. It's about being first. Like if I'm a farmer and I take this tomato as 200 seeds, I plant that, multiply that, get another 200, multiply that, soon I got 40,000 tomatoes. That's a lot of ketchup. That's like 5-6 bathtubs before I looked it up. Wow. Which explains why Abel gave his offering in the course of time, and he wanted to make sure that he was good first before he gave to God. Let's make it real. He said, after I pay the rent, after I cover the gas, after I throw something into my 401k, after I pay Netflix and Hulu and Peacock and Prime and the 100 every other app that you got to pay to watch football, then I'll give to you, Lord. But that's not a tithe. That's a tip. That's like when you take your wife out to a date and you're like, man, that's good service. I'm going to break you something off. No, God doesn't want that. God wants to be first. It's not about money. It's about putting God first in your life, which is why Abel's offering was significant. Abel was a shepherd, which means his whole life and economy is based on sheep. And this one sheep, he has it, it gives birth, and instead of keeping it, he gives it to God. Now, sheep are like humans. They can give birth to triplets, twins, but for the most part, it's one for one. So he takes this one sheep, this one lamb, and gives it to God. Now, imagine you're in Abel's shoes. It takes 5 months for a sheep to be pregnant. So he's staring at the sheep and praying, man, I hope this gives birth to another lamb. Like, he is putting himself in a position where he now has to trust God to provide the rest. Like, do you see the difference? It goes from like, once I got it and I'm good, then I'll give to you, to a place of like, all right, God, I don't know how you're gonna do it, but I depend on you. Because I'm depending on the sheep for my milk, my fur, my warm meat, all of it to feed my family. But Lord, I'm trusting in you that you're gonna provide. So the lesson of the first fruits, exercising your faith is more than important than establishing your stability. Saying, I want to be set in life, and then I'll give to you. I want to reach this income, then I'll give to you, is wrong. God says, no, you got it twisted. Once you put me first and seek first the kingdom, then I will provide, then you'll be set. Like you're cooking with ingredients in the wrong order, and that's why it's not working. Like one thing that I love is talking about the tithe, because me and my wife, when we got here, some of you know this, some of you might not, like 2018 came, we got saved together in this church. We got baptized together in this church. My daughter got baptized in this church, and by the grace of God, my son Zayden and my son Cameron will be baptized in this church. The first time we served was Easter 2018, and we've been giving faithfully for the last 7 years of tithe. If I'm being honest, the first time I tithed, I was nervous. I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna happen, God. Like, I got bills, I got this, I got that, but I trust you. He says, test him. Only time, so I did. And he continued to just bless me time and time again. And then I started getting promotions, and then I started getting raises. Listen, it's one thing to give a $50 tip, but it's a whole nother thing to start tithing, a whole another faith when you start coming up on money. But we still gave. Why? Because he is faithful. He is good. We kept him first. He kept me grounded, knowing I didn't do this on my own strength. And that was great, and that was good, and we were steady until this last year when my 11-year-old daughter, Mila, started having some health issues. Doctors couldn't figure out what it was. Me and my wife took 3 months of leave to be with her because our family is our priority. And I don't know if you ever dealt with the California system, but it took 3 months to pay me my leave. We didn't have it much coming in, but the little we did have, we gave. Even though we got to put food on the table and feed these kids, and Cameron eats a lot, my 3-year-old, we got to pay for rent, all these bills. We don't know how we were going to do it, but we still tithe because we put God first and we trusted him. Like, can you trust God? I mean, it's easy to trust God when things are going right. It's easy to trust God when you feel strong. But can you trust God when you're hurting, when you're sick, when things aren't playing out right? Or is your trust conditional? At this point, you might be saying, well, that was an easy season for you. I don't know how it applies to me. Like, you're a pastor. That was the easy season. Listen, I'm still in this season because after the 3-month leave, my daughter still had health issues. And our family is our priority. So me and my wife made a decision that she was going to leave her full-time job at Apple to watch over our daughter and our kids. 3 kids in the Bay Area is not easy. I'm telling you that right now. There goes the 401k. There's a loss of health insurance, no more raises or yearly bonuses that we were used to. And now that I look back growing up, my mom was right. We do have food at home. And you're probably thinking, like, how do you sleep? I'll tell you, peacefully, because God is my provider. I'm going to tell you right now, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, not just in the good times, not the convenient times when he feels good, but in the storm, in the pain, in the tears. Because Jesus is still on the throne and Christ is still king. We trust God. Ask yourselves, do you? Here's what I've learned from this season. Faith becomes your floor in the hard times, keeps you grounded in the hard times, and believing for the best times. That's faith in your life. When you're going through it, but your faith keeps you steady and you trust on God, that's called the first victory. Everybody say first victory. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this story, Abraham and Lot. Abraham was Lot's uncle, like real uncle, not just slang word. And they both try to follow God, but it looks different. 5 times in the book of Genesis, Abraham would pause and build an altar to God. Listen, I love interaction, so what we're going to do, I'm going to go through some verses, and when I point at you, y'all going to say altar. We're going to practice this. Ready? There we go. Genesis 12 says, Then the Lord appeared to Abraham and said, To your offspring, I will give you this land. So he built there and to the Lord who had appeared to him. Next one. From there he moved to the hill country on east of Bethel and pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai, different type of Ai, on the east. And there he built an altar to the Lord and called upon the name of the Lord. Next one. So Abraham moved his tent and came and settled by the oaks of Mamre, which are the Hebron. And there he built in to the Lord. Next one. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba and called there on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. This last one. When they came to the place of God and told him, Abraham built there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac his son and laid him at the on top of the wood. Dude, listen, this man has great faith. He's loving and worshiping God. Like Lot, not so much, because guess how many altars he built? 0, nada. Both went to church, both showed up physically, both loved God, but only one of them knew where his real source came from. Genesis 14, Lot is living in a city that he shouldn't be living in. Sodom and Gomorrah, full of Niner fans because they only faithful when they're winning. They ain't really faithful. And this city goes to war and loses everyone, and then everybody gets captured. Abraham finds out, gathers his squad, says, "Cuckoo, let's ride." And they go rescue his nephew. And here we go to Genesis 14. When Abraham heard that his relative had been taken captive, he called out the 318 trained men born in the household and went in pursuit as far as Dan. Look at the faith of Abraham. Like a couple months ago, there was this trend going on, 100 dudes versus a gorilla. Anybody remember that? Like who would win? Who would take off this gorilla? Listen, if you look around, it's kind of dark in here, but if you look around and we take the 100 strongest men in this room, and I'm telling you right now, we got some dudes on the dream team who ain't soft. We got ex-military, we got mixed martial artists, we got power lifters. Pastor Ali does the Murph like every 2 days. He's like to 10 minutes now. Even then, I don't know if we're walking out that fight against that ape, fellas, in full contact. You know what I mean? So how are 318 dudes and a 75-year-old man gonna go into battle against an army? I'll tell you how. Because they believed that God was on their side. Genesis 14 says, after Abraham returned from defeating Kedorlaomer and the kings allied with him, the king of Sodom came out to meet him in the valley of Sheba. That is, the king's valley. Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was a priest of God Most High, and he blessed Abraham, saying, "Blessed be Abraham by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth. And praise be to God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand." Then Abraham gave him 1/10 of everything. Notice who this person is. He's a king, the king of Salem, which means peace. He's not an angel, but a priest of the Most High. And Abraham is tithing to him. Bro, we call this a Christophany. It's a non-physical appearance of Jesus. This isn't a man, it's God, because there's only one greater who receives a tithe. Abraham's a father of faith. So who's greater than him? Only God. Listen, Abraham is tithing 1,500 years before the tithe. That shows you it's not a Mosaic law. It's a spiritual principle. It was an act of faith, a declaration that my victory, not just this one, every blessing in my life comes from you, Lord. This principle that Abraham had was a recognition of the Lord's provision. He took 1/10, said, my victory is from you, God. Somehow, me and these 318 dudes defeated a king with his army. These dudes are like, I watched Gladiator a couple times and 300, but I'm new at swinging this sword. Like, there's no way we're winning this on our own. It had to be you, God. He honors the Lord with 10%. People who live by this principle, they live differently. Let's be real. They live knowing that they are not their source. There's a whole other source, something beyond them. Before Abraham got rich, before Abraham got his promised son, before Abraham became famous and known as a father of faith, before Abraham became Abraham, he tithed because he knew where his victory came from. He honored God before. Lot went to church, but he never built an altar. He lived comfortably and never acknowledged God as his one true source. When trouble came, he was captured. He was powerless to save himself. Abraham, on the other hand, worshiped first, fought second, and won because God was with him. Now, the lesson of the first victory is true victory comes from honoring God first, not from human strength or success. Giving is not a repayment. It's a recognition. You don't tithe after success. You tithe because success was never yours to begin with. You were blessed. Abraham's tithe was evidence that he trusted God more than his own sword or himself. Every victory, every experience, whether financial, relational, or spiritual, should lead to worship, not pride. Listen, one thing I love about being a dad is that I get to be involved in my kids' sports and be a coach. First it was Mila with softball. Then it was flag football, my 5-year-old Zayden, back-to-back champions, just putting it out there. Most recently, it was soccer. Like, I have zero knowledge on soccer. All I know is kick the ball in the net, you get a point. So guess what we focused on? Points. I got net in the backyard, and, I'm trying to build his confidence, and I start taking it easy on him and just letting him get in, some kicks. And I'm like, oh, you got it. Good job, bud. But then he started to get good. And then he started to get cocky. Like, make a goal, take that, Dad. I'm like, Lord, I'm about to humble this boy. Started going off, boom, goal, boom, goal. I turned into Messi, Ronaldo, and LeBron. I was like, your dad is still top dog. So let me ask you this. Who do you turn into when you start to win? When you don't have much, you proclaim God as your provider. But then you start getting raises and promotions and money starts coming in out of nowhere. Do you acknowledge him as your source? Or does your trust shift from your provider to your provision? You got to be careful, because if it does, you'll have confusion where your victory comes from. Now, if you're taking notes, write this down. If you're not taking notes, write this down. Remember that the battle is not the battle. Obedience is the battle. The battle is not just starting a business. It's hard to run a business. But running it with integrity, that's hard. It's hard to lead a family. But leading that family with morality, how Christ wants you to, that's hard. Abraham took 318 men and defeated 30,000. Not once was God concerned about the battle. God has never lost. You never have to question if God's going to win that battle. The question is, will you obey? Because Jesus got that battle. He has the business. He has the family. He has the help. He can win those battles, but will you trust him and put him in the place that he deserves to be? The one he deserves, the one he works best in. The battle is not the battle. Obedience is the battle. Now, I want to cover 3 types of givers today. First, foundation. Foundation givers commits to a monthly contribution of $50 to Bold Church. This is a great first step for people to begin giving financially to Bold and to start taking steps towards tithing. Second, concrete. Concrete givers commit to tithing, giving the first 10% of one's income to the church. Tithing is a principle seen throughout the Bible and is referenced weekly during our Sunday services. Third, bricklayers. Bold Church defines generosity as going above and beyond. A vision builder makes a decision to go above and beyond the 10% in their financial giving. Like, I bring this up because I got a challenge for y'all. If you're around me enough, you know I love to call higher. Like, another honor and privilege that I have in this house is being a Bold group leader. Like, this is a shameless plug for groups. If you're not in a group yet, stop trying to do life alone. Get into community like you should be doing. Lions Den, where are you at? Woo! Let's go. That is the men's group Tuesday nights. Come through. We believe that Christianity is not meant to be done from the sideline, but the trenches. Listen, you come into the den, we are challenging each other, calling each other to Christ, calling each other higher, because we believe Christ needs to be the Lord of all your life. Not just some of it, not just what you want to give him, not just what you're comfortable with, all of it. With that being said, here's my challenge for you. 90-day tithing challenge. I want y'all to scan the QR code on the screen or the QR code in front of your seat. This is how we live out Malachi 3:10, which says, test the Lord in tithing and see if I don't open your storehouses and bless you. Not just financially, but in your life in every way. Listen, this was hard for me to do at first. And I know it can be difficult, but this needs to be a place we break off. So in this 90 days that you tithe and take this challenge, if you don't see God moving in a supernatural way or moving your life in any way, listen, we will give you back every penny that you gave in the 90 days. I've never seen a church do this. This is wild. But in this house, we believe the word of God so much that we go all in. We have no doubts because we know God will move. And I'm talking to the 91% of you that don't tithe yet. But what I don't want you to hear is, if I give, I'm going to get X amount of dollars back. That's not what this is about. It's about putting him first in our lives. Listen, Jesus is a greater treasure. Like, do you know why God allowed Abraham to tithe to him? This dude went to war, got spoils from an army, but he knew gold was not the treasure. God being on your side is. Philippians 3 says, I once thought these things were valuable, but now I consider them worthless because of what Christ has done. Yes, everything else is worthless when compared with the infinite value of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord. For his sake, I have discarded everything else, counting it all as garbage so that I could gain Christ. Like, I believe he will bless your finances. I believe he'll bless your marriage. He's going to bless your mental health if you put him first. But that's not why I do it. Why I do it and put him first is because he saved me from the pit of hell. So how can I not honor that? I do it because it tells God that I trust him. It reminds me that I'm my source. I do it because I believe that the church is the hope of the world. And in one of the most unchurched regions in the whole country Bay Area, month after month, Bold Church sees miracles. We see salvations and baptisms, miracle after miracle. I do it because I'm an obedient son. I will not live in rebellion. I know what my life before Jesus was, and I'm never going back. Number 3, firstborn. Everyone say firstborn. Exodus 13 says, you shall set apart to the Lord all that first opens the womb, and all the firstborns of your animals that are males should be the Lord's. Every first both of a donkey you shall redeem with the lamb, and if you will not redeem it, you shall break its neck. This is a sermon God's preaching to his people. He's using animals as an illustration. The donkey is a symbol of an unclean animal. The lamb is a symbol of a clean animal. Well, God is saying that in order for the unclean to live, which is you and I, the clean must die for it. Now, here's the question. Are human beings born unclean or clean? If you don't know the answer to this, hang around with a few kids for a little while and you'll see. Like, you don't have to teach them to lie. It's natural. Like, we just moved out recently, but my boys left some wall on the art, and I caught Cam, my 3-year-old, with a crayon on his hand, and I'm like, Cam, did you draw on the wall? He's like, no, Dad. I'm like, are you sure? No, Dad. And drops the crayon. Like, you don't got to teach a kid to lie. You got to teach them to tell the truth. So, we're all born unclean. And in order for us to live, the clean had to die. But it's not just any clean. It had to be the firstborn. Colossians says, Jesus is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. So Jesus wasn't just Jesus. He was the firstborn. John 3:16 says, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life. He gave the first so that you and I should not perish. Listen to me, I don't tithe because I have to. I do it because it matures me, because it changes me. Ultimately, I'm already loved. And people ask, if I don't tithe, do I go to hell? No, you don't go to hell if you don't tithe. You go to hell if you don't put trust and accept Jesus, but not for not giving the tithe. Now, the lesson of the firstborn is you don't have to tithe, but Jesus didn't have to die for you either. He did it out of love, and I do it for him out of love. Think about it this way. Jesus was God's tithe for you and for me. So when I give to the Lord, it's in response. Exodus 13 says, in days to come, when your son asks you, what does this mean? God's clearly addressing the obvious questions your kids will ask. They used to see animals getting slaughtered and sacrificed. Now it's like they would think, you crazy, you sick? Thank God we don't got to do that anymore. But our kids still watch what you do. More is caught than taught. So when that happens, Exodus 4:13 continues to say to him, with the mighty hand of the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery, when Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go. The Lord killed the firstborn of both people and animals in Egypt. This is why I sacrifice to the Lord the first. Listen, the other day I was hanging out with my 11-year-old Mila, and my family loves superheroes. There was a year where we even dressed up as superheroes. My wife was Black Widow. I was a Hulk because they had a thing going on, so I got some brownie points. And I used this to show her an example of the tithe. I showed her my phone and said, look, this is how much I tithe month after month. She's like, what? That's a lot, Daddy. I'm like, I know. To her, it was like a lot because we give her money sometimes, $10 here and there, and she tithes that. So it was a lot for her. But when she asked why, I put it like this. Well, there's the Avengers, and then there's those bad guys who are trying to take over the world. Thanos is leading them, and for whatever reason, they start in New York every single movie. Like, Mommy and Daddy used to be on the bad guys team. There was a time we didn't live for God. We didn't even know God. Daddy used to be a bad guy. I had my addictions. I used to cuss. I used to lie. I used to hurt. But God redeemed me from that. Jesus took Mommy and Daddy who made bad choices and saved us. He changed us. He took us from the bad guys team, and he forgave us. He gave us a home. He gave us a purpose. That's why Mommy and Daddy give. Because Jesus gave his first, his very best for us. And now we give to him first because we want our whole life, not just some of it, to show that he is first. And now listen, you might be here today and you might not know this Jesus I'm bragging about, but in the moment, I'm going to give you and invite you an opportunity to do so. So if I can get every head bowed.